Press the little thing. Right. The meeting will come to order. First item of business is roll call. Ira Ellman.
Present.
Robert Wolf.
Here.
Ann Williams.
Here.
Kate Jones.
Present.
And I, Douglas Collins, am here also. Let's see. Oh. Next item of business, Pledge of Allegiance. Just for that, you get to lead.
I couldn't possibly.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That didn't stick in your head from elementary school? All right. Announcements. Any announcements? We did.
Actually, I just want to say how thrilled I am that we have 2 new members here. I think will be great additions to the Civil Service Board. I wanted to just say with it to welcome our 2 new members. Ann Williams and Ira Elman, who I know will be great additions to the Civil Service Board.
Thank you. I second your comments. It wasn't a motion. So,
What's an announcement?
all right. Item 5, public comment. Do we have any requests for public comment? Any written requests? Are there any oral requests from our massive audience? Apparently not. This is a big audience for us. So, item 6, matters for commission consideration. Item 6A, request to approve revisions to class specifications for human resources manager. I guess this is a class number 24-AS-025.
Thank you, Brooke. So we are requesting that the commission approve changes to the human resources manager classification. Most of the changes are not substantive, really modernizing a lot of the languages, going from department to division. Oh my God, speaking to the mic, Stafford. Sorry. Most of the changes are not substantive. They are just modernizing the language. What I also added at the end were some more characteristics in these types of items that we are working towards in terms of the characteristics they want for managers in the city of Hermosa. I also updated a little bit of the skills and abilities, so added some there and updated, well, actually quite a bit under those sections. And then for education and experience, as it is in keeping with the way the city is doing business, it's a 4-year degree and 5 years experience, or a combination of the two of them. So a person could have a 2-year degree and then 6 years of experience, and then that way they would qualify to compete in the process. Is there any questions?
Any questions, comments?
Well, I have some questions. Is this the time for me to
Yes.
ask? If we're ready to go, I'll go first.
Yes, sir.
So what I found interesting about the job description is that I'm from the private sector, so I'm probably not understanding everything, but it seems as though this position is also going to be the risk manager.
Yes, sir, it is.
And I'm not sure this is necessarily my business or our business, but is that usual in the public sector to have such a skill set where somebody is knowledgeable about HR and also risk management? Is that
It's extremely common. The risk manager almost always resides in the HR department, but it can sometimes reside in the finance department.
Right.
So it just depends. But the risk management portion of HR is litigation and general liability management, which falls within the scope when you think about employment litigation and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And workers' comp also.
Yeah, to me, workers' comp made sense, but them being in charge of property liability, casualty, automobile insurance seems to be, that would be something that we don't have the city doesn't have a risk manager, I guess, that we either hire or have on staff.
We have a risk analyst who happens to be in the audience.
Hi.
Marco Ponce, and he is, we hire for that skill set.
Right.
Insurance and stuff is pretty transactional because we have we belong to a risk pool.
Okay.
As most, either cities self-insure or they belong to a risk pool.
Okay.
I would assume that the city attorney's office and city manager's office also lend assistance as needed.
Of course.
And in my experience in the public sector, because of the small size of this agency, the city of Hermosa Beach, you often find jobs like that combined.
Yes, it's pretty common.
How many employees does the city have?
149 budgeted. Filled, it's a little bit less than that, closer probably to 135.
Just from my experience in private practice, when a good part of my litigation was in employment litigation, that it's a very logical step to have the HR person be dealing with risk management issues, since a good part of a city's liability arises from employment-related decisions, whether it's hiring or firing, termination, discipline. So I think it's very understandable and logical.
Any other questions or comments?
I had more, if you want me to keep rolling.
Please.
So one thing I didn't notice in the job description, unless I missed it, was I didn't see anything related to health insurance. Is that part of the job responsibility?
It is. It's one of the core functions. So it's probably under an existing procedures, contracts, schooling.
The only thing I saw is where it says provides information and technical assistance on human resource policies, blah, 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 supplementary employee benefits, but that doesn't seem like necessarily stating that that person being in charge of health insurance. It seems to me like that's a huge part of their job, of a HR manager's job, so it seemed like that was missing somewhere.
We can absolutely add that to draw it out. I think my intention was it falls under human resources programs, but we can certainly spell it out. It is a huge cost item.
Yeah. And obviously very, very important to the people who work here, and it's probably takes a lot of time, I imagine, of an HR manager to hunt down the right insurance and negotiate it and so forth, right?
Right. So if I may, we'll say coordinates and manages the city's benefits program.
Okay. When I looked at the Manhattan Beach HR manager job description, that's exactly what they had. They had employee benefits program is managed, so that you're all over it. I did see a small typo. I'm not sure that's my part of our job of review.
Tell me.
The top of maybe the second page where it says provides information and technical assistance on human resources, there's a I there, or a one, and I don't know if that's intended or not.
No, we'll delete that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the only other comment I had, and like I said, I hope I'm not being too wordy for my first time here, but I did notice that the list of abilities seemed to be kind of extremely verbose. So for instance, it said, as an example, show empathy toward the community and colleagues. Is that something that we would normally put in for an ability?
I did add these
Okay.
in keeping kind of with best management practices in the HR field.
Okay.
They are long, and this is to differentiate between this and something else. This is a very, intended to be a very descriptive document of what the person will do and what we're looking for. But when we recruit, we use a job flyer, which is much, much more condensed and very more 30,000-foot levels.
Okay. I did have one last thing, sorry, which is there was an item here in responsibilities where it says develops procedures and recommends methods for funding, contracts, facilities, and activities under consideration by the city, and advises on risk implications. The risk implications I get, since this person seems like they're going to be our risk manager, but getting involved in recommending methods for funding, contracts, facilities, that seems like that should be a financial person rather than somebody who's in HR. From my background, the HR person doesn't get involved. That funding decisions would be like our finance person, our treasurer. Contracts would be by our legal department. Facilities, I don't know if the city has a facilities manager. Those don't seem to fit. Maybe they do here in Hermosa, but those seem unusual to me.
We can certainly modify that sentence as well. That is a sort of a carryover from the last job bulletin, which was 2016, so maybe facilities fell under that position. But I'm not aware, and we do have a finance director, so I'm not aware that we're involved in funding sources, but contract risk transfer for sure.
Yeah, funding, contracts, and facilities doesn't seem like it. Again, I don't know what that.
I think really we advise on risk implications relative to funding, contracts, and facilities.
Okay.
So I'll flop it.
Okay, fair enough. That's all I have, Doug.
All right, what's your pleasure? Do you want to vote on that with the oral modifications, or would you prefer to carry this matter over to our next meeting and have the revised written document?
My preference is to have the motion based on the oral changes, but it's at the pleasure of the board.
So is anyone care to make a motion?
I just had one other thing. This is pretty minor, but since among the responsibilities, it talks about grammar and language usage, there's and these are nits, but there's a few grammatical corrections that I just popped out at me. And for example, on class characteristics, I believe it should be assists rather than assist to go with the second one, which is ensures.
Okay.
And team, where it says to be part of a high-performing team, team is singular, so it should be that works together.
Thank
You
you.
notice that? And then, this is just a general question, but I wondered about the use of the pronoun they. I know a lot of people use that. So, for example, you say the incumbent is required, and then it says hold themselves. Does that become a standard practice now, or do we not use, I'm just curious about this, himself or herself, or?
We do not anymore. I mean, they themselves, it's inclusive of everybody who and how they identify themselves. Because I don't want to say he, she, they, them. That gets a little
Right.
cumbersome, so we just generically use they.
I just wondered, so that's even when the subject is in the singular? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. It means singular in that particular case.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
My training is a little dated.
That's okay.
is there a motion?
I move that we adopt this with the 2 or 3 oral changes that were discussed on the record, and that you have the discretion to adapt appropriate language to fit the sentiments that were expressed
We do.
by the board members.
We do.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor. Member Ellman?
Aye.
Say again.
Aye.
Member Wolf?
Yes.
Member Williams?
Aye.
Member Jones?
Yes.
And I, Member Collins, vote yes as well. Thank you. Item 6B, action minutes of the Civil Service Board special meeting of July 15th, 2024. Are there any comments, questions, or corrections regarding that document?
Just a general thing that we were advised by the city attorney that when you come to a motion to approve the minutes, even if you were not at the meeting at which the minutes were prepared, you're still able to vote on that. It basically just indicates that you have reviewed the document. If you want, if you feel comfortable, you can vote to approve it, even if you were not personally present at the
You
meeting.
can also-
It just means that you reviewed the minutes for form and accuracy, and based on the comments of your colleagues who were at the meeting.
I think the normal practice is for persons that weren't present at it to abstain, and under Robert's rules, abstentions are counted with the majority. So, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. And again, with my mic on, I'll second that.
All right. All in favor, Member Ellman,
Yes.
Member Wolf,
Yes.
Member Williams.
So is the recommendation the best practice that I abstain if I wasn't there? Or that if
That's my view.
Okay, then I will abstain.
And Member Jones.
Abstain.
All right, and I, Member Collins, vote yes, so motion carries. Item 7, more public comment.
Yes, we do have one public comment coming from me. If I could introduce Brandon Walker. He is the new Administrative Services Director for the City of Hermosa, under which HR and Finance now fall because they're a combined department. So he just started on Monday. He's got a pretty extensive background in in finance, and so he's really, really lucky to have him.
Does he report to the city manager?
He
or-
does.
Oh,
He
I see.
does.
Great.
Brandon, did you want to say something?
Good afternoon, board members. I do report to the city manager as day number 3. Really looking forward to working with you all. I think, as board member Wolf mentioned, as a service city, Hermosa really focuses on employee development and recruiting and retaining talent. So the work you all do is really, really critical in making sure that we have the human capital and the resources and are hiring the most qualified candidates and people to really deliver the highest quality services to our residents. So appreciate you being my first meeting. Thank you for the warm welcome, and really looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, and welcome aboard.
Oh, could I just ask if you could amplify a little bit on your background before you kind of hit the pinnacle with joining the city of Hermosa Beach?
Sure. I have about 15 years of experience down the road in the city of Long Beach. So Cindy and I actually have some time together in the previous capacity. I've worked, again, from the full gamut of every department in the city pretty much. Fire, PD, I worked with fire, PD, gas, utilities, finance, really strong background in budget development. On the HR side, finance and HR really work closely, as you see in the job bulletin too, making sure that we have the financial resources and the human capital resources to deliver to the city. So been on the executive team for about 8 years total, and I'm just really excited to work with Suja. It has really developed a great team, so very excited to be working here and having an office that's 2 blocks from the beach. So that's a huge perk.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And it seems like we get the best of Long Beach, considering the talent that we have been able to take who had previous experience in the city. Besides Suja, the police chief, and you, and
I'm interim, but yes. And you may see Brandon if I'm unavailable. That's
Okay.
one of the reasons why I really wanted to introduce him to the board.
And if you guys are baseball fans or not, so we'll consider Long Beach the AAA farm system team for Hermosa. So I'm happy to step up to the big leagues.
being a Dirtbags fan, I appreciate that.
I like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other requests for public comment? Hearing none, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor. Member Illman,
Yes.
Member Wolf,
Yes.
Member Williams,
Aye. Yes.
Member Jones,
Yes.
and I, Member Collins, vote yes as well, although very reluctantly. We're done.